$2 million life insurance policy was going to be hers in the event of his death. However, Melody was adamant that Gary didn't have any life insurance and there were no assets in her name, making it seem like she wouldn't have anything to gain from this. Investigators really needed to understand the timeline of when Gary's murder took place. Chris had come by on the 3rd, and he says that he last saw his dad around 4:45 p.m. Scott, he says he last saw his dad around 1 or 1:30 p.m., but after that, he went to the lake with friends. He was at one of their houses until about 10:55 p.m. That's roughly when Melody called him asking if he could come home and help wrangle some horses that had escaped, and this is when he saw the glow of the burn pile in the distance. Based on blood evidence, investigators thought inside the house is where the shooting took place. The first shot was fired in the kitchen, and then Gary was shot again as he came down the stairs and out the sliding glass door. Interestingly, Gary's CPAP machine ended up being a big help. It was able to determine that he hadn't used the machine on the night of July 3rd. He normally went to bed between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m., and they think that he was killed sometime between 9:30 p.m. and 1 a.m. The only two people that we know were home that night were Scott and Melody. That being said, Scott wasn't home until 11:30 that night. Of course, that doesn't rule him out. After all, if Gary was shot in the house but then ended up on the burn pile, he had to have been placed there. Considering how small Melody was, it's hard to conceptualize how she could have gotten her 300-pound husband all the way out there. Scott, on the other hand, he would have had the strength to move him. But there was something that he and Chris had told investigators that made it difficult for them to turn their attention away from Melody, and that was the name Rusty Barton. It turns out that Melody was not honest with investigators when they asked her if she had an affair. Turns out that she did have an affair with this guy named Rusty Barton.